welcome to New and In Between, hosted by me, Mia Quinn Maddox, where I'll be discussing the hows and whys to my journey towards my faith. I've learned through my highs and lows that this path is not mine to travel alone. Join me mid journey as I embrace my wins, losses, and everything in between. Welcome to New and In Between. Welcome to New and In Between. I am your host, Mia Quinn Maddox, and today I have the absolute pleasure of sitting here with my friend Gabby, stylist to the stars. Thank you so much, Gabby, for coming. Thank you so much for your time. We're going to start off by asking, who is Gabrielle?
Oh, she's been a couple of them. First of all, did I even say thank you for having me? I'm so honored to be here with
I'm
you
so honored to have you here.
and your
So,
audience.
yes. So, we're in the same space, so thank you.
Yeah. So who is Gabrielle? Gabrielle is living in the now, and she's also living in the new, if that makes sense. Because where I am currently
Mhm.
is all new to me. I am learning how to nurture this version of me and also love on the other versions and also forgive them too.
Mm.
So,
So we're kind of in the same boat.
yeah, that's who I am
Yeah,
now.
we're kind of in the same boat. It's a good boat to be in.
It is.
No, it's a good space to be in. Just to be able to say I could be a whole new person, and I don't care what I was prior to,
Hmm.
and who remembers who, what was, or what, when, whatever. But feeling good about where I am right now in this seat right now.
Yep, I feel good. Finally.
Yeah. So let's talk about. I mean, we're gonna keep because who Gabby is gonna be this whole conversation. But I just want to give people a little bit of background to how we know each other and how long we've known each other.
Yep.
So you tell them that part.
Ooh, so I have known this beautiful lady right here for 20 years? Ooh, probably
Yeah,
around
about
that.
20 years,
About 20
give or
years.
take a year or 2.
Yeah, when I got my first job with my first big celebrity client, and I walk on set with Olivia, and then here you go. I think it was four girls at the time. It was Olivia, you, myself, and what's her name, Lauren, at the time.
My sister?
Not your sister. I think she worked for Chris.
Oh, Lori.
Lady,
Yeah, it was
Lori,
Lori Dobbins.
Lori,
Yep, Lori
Lori
Dobbins.
Diamond. So it was the four of us,
Okay.
and I was faithing it till I made it because I had to pretend that that wasn't my first job,
Hmm.
but it was my first job that I had been begging for 8 years prior. But God knew I wasn't ready, so He made me sit on that. And I walk on set, and you pulled me to the side. I don't know if you remember. You
No,
remember?
you remember we had this conversation a few
Oh
years
my
ago.
gosh, we
Yep.
did at Shanae and Halim's wedding, right?
Hmm.
So Mia pulls me to the side and she gave me some of the best advice that I ever got in my entire career. And she set the tone for that client. She sure the heck did. Because I did not know what I was getting myself into.
And I don't know what made me do that, but I felt a responsibility to the women who came around to let them know real quick, like, okay, keep your head down, do your job,
Yep.
do not let these boys get you distracted because I'm like, this is a beautiful girl. I already know what's gonna. I'm watching them. I'm a super observant person, so I'm just watching people come and leave and come and leave. And I hear and I listen, you hear the complaints and the things, and I'm watching people and I'm like, ooh, don't get caught up. So as soon I'm like, let me help her out real quick because I know these boys. Keep your head down, mind your business, do your job, and that is it.
And that was the best advice I ever got in my career because that started it all. I laugh all the time because I say that. Can I say their name?
Yeah.
Okay. So I laugh all the time. I say that G Unit got me ready for the Republicans.
They sure did.
But because of your advice, and it weighed very heavy in my career, I never forgot it. And because of that experience with them, I was ready after that.
Listen,
They initiated me.
listen, people don't understand that 12 years or however many years of my life,
Woo!
it gave me so much life training for film and television, for
Yes.
I mean, just the world in general. Like
Mm-hmm.
it set me up. It did. It set me up in a really really good way. Because when I go through things now, I'm like, oh, this is nothing.
That's how I feel
Yeah,
too.
this is
I'm
nothing.
like, listen, child, one industry will punch you in the face, the other one's gonna punch you in the email. It's the
Exactly.
same thing.
Yep.
You gotta know how to handle yourself.
Pretty
I
much.
wasn't with you guys for that long because Liv, she left not too long. I think it was like maybe 2 years,
Yeah. Because
maybe,
I
and
think
then
I did my first tour with Olivia. Shout out to Olivia. I was super nervous. Oh, I
I
was so
know.
that was really, really, really nerve wracking for me because I had just gotten them for myself as a
Mm-hmm.
client, and they said, okay, you're gonna go on tour. I'm like tour, and it wasn't like tour in the U.S. It's like tour, and we started off in Kiev, and it's like, oh gosh,
You
now
like
I'm going
where?
to exactly. I was really on the globe looking up all the places that we were going because these were the places that I never even thought that people went unless you lived there
Mm-hmm.
or you had business there or it was like some government something.
Mm-hmm.
It was Kiev. It was we were all over Germany. We were all over Europe. I think we went to Russia in that first run, or maybe not. That might have been the second run, but it was already nerve wracking because I was the only girl. So I was super happy that Olivia was even going, because then I could hang out with a girl.
Yep.
And that was my first tour, and we got food poison
Oh, I
because we were
remember that.
ooh
I mean, I wasn't with y'all, but I do remember.
me and Olivia said, we're not eating McDonald's. We don't eat McDonald's home. We're not eating McDonald's. We are not traveling all across the world to eat McDonald's. Like, and all the boys who have been on tour already are telling us McDonald's is safe. That's what you eat. We were hard headed. We ordered, I remember because we ordered steak and pasta and potatoes. I mean, this big old layout. And she's like, I'm not feeling good. And I'm like, girl, you nervous. Shut up. Just put these clothes on. Let's go. She did the show. The next day we went back to the hotel. I lost everything from both ends. She lost everything from both ends. No one wanted to sit next to us. We had our own car. No one, we both was fighting for the bathroom. It was the worst food poison I've ever had in my life. We had to have a doctor come to the next city. She missed the show. I missed the show, which I've never missed the show. I've
Oh
never
my
missed the show.
god.
That was the first time ever. And I mean, she had to get an IV. I had to get a shot in the stomach. It was like the worst. We're in another country. No one speaks English. They're giving us medicine that's in German. I'm not really sure what to take, but I know I didn't care at that point. I was dying. And I don't think I would have been able to get through that situation if she wasn't there. Like we were there for each other.
Yep.
Like, and I was super grateful to my first tour to at least have a one girl, and then that was it. Then Olivia left. Olivia left me.
She
Olivia
left.
left me. Then I was the only girl
Yeah.
all the time on tour.
I know.
I
But you
know.
knew how to handle it and them. Well,
Listen.
you had a PhD in that.
That I did. I
You
did.
knew how to handle them.
I did. I
So
did. I
that
learned
was
that quick.
that was a time.
Yeah,
I had a
it
time.
was. But in those situations, I met great people, and I met Gabby, and
Mm-hmm.
Gabby's done my hair many a times because you are a celebrity hairstylist. So she's done my hair. She was responsible for my blonde when it was beautiful and full and curly, not when it all fell out. That's my own doing. But how long have you been gracing people with doing their hair?
So I just made this year will be 32 years.
Mm-hmm.
I've never done anything else. I decided when I was 15 that this is what I wanted to do. I went to beauty school at 18, graduated at 19, and never looked back. But the film and TV thing, that was like I say all the time, it chose me.
Mm-hmm.
God chose that for me because that wasn't what I had in mind. My mantra or my motto or my mission was always to make girls feel pretty. Still is. But
That you do.
yes, from the inside out, right?
Yes.
But the film and TV, ooh, I had no idea. I think that if younger me would see me now, she probably would have talked herself out of her own blessing because I wouldn't have believed it.
Mm.
So to have a 32-year career in the beauty industry, and I've been doing film and TV for 20, and I'm still here.
Now I'm in film and television in a different way. So explain to them like
Yeah.
the film and television that you're in.
Okay, so the film and television that I am in, I'm not union, right? And that's a choice. It's not because I can't be. Because of Olivia, right? Going from music straight into the Love and Hip Hop series, first season, first show, never been done before. My resume is heavy in reality, in the reality show world. And then because a bunch of my other friends that came up with me, they were in film and TV and still are, I would fill in for them at the news. So I was literally going back and forth between Love and Hip Hop and this week with George Stephanopoulos
There you go.
and GMA. So, but I've also got into shopping TV, with a beauty brand, which was different for me. I didn't even know that that was a lane. Let me tell you something. If y'all don't know anything about Home Shopping Network or the shopping channels, that is the most gangster TV that I have ever worked in my life.
Really?
You already know. We could sit on the set. I've never sat on the set for 27 hours straight until I started working shopping television. They don't
So you
play.
mean like QVC and Home
Yes.
Shopping Network? You know,
Yes.
the ones when you pass the channels you're looking for and they're selling stuff, and sometimes you get really, you're like, ooh, I'm gonna buy that.
Yep.
And I mean, I have an aunt. I'm sure we all have aunts who love the Home Shopping Network, and that is where they always get a package from. And Amazon is taking a little bit over now, but those Home Shopping Networks are still.
They are.
You just don't think about it because you
They
don't
are.
think that there's a production that goes into that.
It's
So there's
a
a full
whole
production.
production.
27 hours?
27 hours, many times, because they have these things that they call, oh gosh, I forgot the name. It's terrible because it's been some years because I stopped doing the shopping television, but I think it's called like a Today Special. That's what it's called, Today Special. So you're literally on from midnight to midnight. You have some breaks, maybe two-hour breaks here and there. But see, what a lot of people don't understand is that we go on at midnight, but the model's hair have to be done. The host has to be done. So my day would start at 9 o'clock at night, let's say 9 o'clock Friday night, and wouldn't end until maybe 1 o'clock Sunday morning.
Wow.
Gangsta.
And I mean, when I complain about 14 hours, see,
Gangsta.
we always complain about something, and I'm complaining about the 16 or 17 hours because I do include my travel. My day starts when I wake up. My day ends
Absolutely.
when I go to bed. So however many hours that is, it's definitely not 27. But where I am at now, I say that the music industry trained me for that because videos were 27 hours. We could have been on set for that long. Remember, eyes bleeding, everyone hiding. You go to the van and someone hiding on the floor. You
going
go
in the
closet,
bathroom.
Yeah, someone sleep. Like, we would be up for that long. So we don't even realize that part of life kind of trained us.
Yep.
For this, but 27 hours, that's
27 hours. I said, when they break that, because right now I work on 90 Day Fiance, but only the reunion shows with the host Sean Robinson, who I adore. They almost had them beat because we used to do 1 day film, 22 hours, but the crew was melting. Everybody was melting. Everybody from craft services all the way trickling up and down.
Yeah.
So they stopped. So now they split it. But just to kind of wrap up what I do, so I work because I'm not union, I work on a lot of mixed sets, meaning they have non-union and union workers. I have been fortunate enough to be a star request on more than one occasion. So yeah, that's kind of what I do. I don't do as many reality shows as I used to. I was trying not to get typecast.
Yeah.
In that I still will do the news sometimes. That's what I did during the pandemic. I went on the skeleton crew and was risking my life to make sure
that
they was cute on the news. Also, I got into doing a lot of YouTube and in-house tutorials for beauty brands that they would show, like at Target.
Can you say some of the beauty brands you?
Oh yeah,
let's talk.
Carol's Daughter, Blink Fitness, Target, Palmer's. I'm just now starting to work with Afro Unicorns.
Ooh, I've never heard of that one.
Yeah, which is a Black woman-owned brand, and she just got into Target, Walmart, and CVS.
Okay.
So I signed on with them for a couple of videos, and just print work. And I was surprisingly catapulted into product development too, which I didn't even know was a lane with what we do, helping beauty brands build and improve upon beauty products, new and already released.
I mean, that makes sense. Who would know better than someone who uses the product every day on different textures of hair? I mean, I have a friend, Joy, and she says that everything, when she talks to people, she's like, that could be monetized, that could be monetized,
absolutely,
that could be monetized, that could be monetized. And it gave me the mindset of just thinking of, for myself, like all the skills that we have and things that we do and things that we've learned. Why not put it to? It's what you do every day, anyways.
I mean, why not?
Yeah, why not monetize it and make and build wealth off of it? It's the thing that makes the most sense because we're always looking for something new. Oh, I want to start a business. I want to do this. Mind you, we have 10 things that we can monetize that are right here in us already. God says He gives you everything that you need.
Absolutely.
You just got to look inside and see what it is that He gave you so that you know what to do.
Yeah, we step over those everyday miracles. Everybody's always looking for the big boom, the big bang, but the big bang hits you every day. You
Yeah.
just step over it because it don't look like nothing.
Yeah. It'd be
Isn't
the
that
little
crazy?
things. Yeah,
It's the
just the
little
little things.
things.
Like just even doing this podcast and
Yep.
telling the story and when even, reaching out to you. As a matter of fact, we released the episode with Sharon
Ugh.
about friends and we started just going back and forth about friend breakups and then I was like, you know what, Gabby, you would be an amazing person to be on the podcast. And I was like, what would we talk about? And you gave me a bunch of different topics and one that you said to me was mommy wounds.
Yep.
And when you said it to me, I was like, wow, I've never really heard that. So let me just give my disclaimer now. This is not a term that it's a medical term or
Mm-mm.
something, or, because everyone gets so caught up in the verbiage of things instead of really listening to the message that's behind it. So
Yep.
that's just my disclaimer that this is not a medical term. So let's talk about that because when you said that to me, it opened up a whole bunch of books. Like it just, when you open up a book and then all the birds fly out, I was like, wow, I never
Why are
really
you so
thought about
funny?
that. I never really thought about that because we talk about, daddy issues and daddy wounds,
Mm-hmm.
but moms do, we gain and get things from our moms too. So tell me what even led you to come to that term or to that realization that you are there.
Because of my friend breakup. My friend breakup opened up Pandora's box.
Mm,
My friend breakup literally showed me my unaddressed mommy issues
mm,
because I had allowed women to treat me other than what I deserved. Now, with my permission now, okay? So I'm not a victim, right? I allowed them to treat me, and I treated them in ways that neither one of us deserved because I was not ready to take on that mommy issue.
mm,
And I had mommy and daddy issues, but I've made peace with my daddy issues many years ago.
mm-hmm.
Thank God. But that's what uncovered it because I went through so many stages with the friend breakup. I mean, first of all, I was surprised. I was
Mm-hmm.
kind of shocked. And then I was angry.
How long were you guys friends?
27 years.
Wow, that's a long time.
Yep. I came up with these people. We was broke together. We got money together. We had babies together. We grieved children together, family members. We laughed, we cried. We did all the
They
things.
became your family.
They were my family. I'm an only child.
Mm-hmm.
So they became my family. And when it was my turn to go through something that literally stopped me and my family in my tracks, they kind of ghosted me because I couldn't handle what was happening. It was happening so fast. It was hitting me like snowballs,
Mm-hmm.
like an avalanche. And I just needed time and space because I was like, I fought so long my whole entire life to not be here, and I'm here. So I just needed some time,
Mm-hmm.
and they ghosted me. And I heard the Holy Spirit speak louder. I've never heard him speak so loud before.
Mm.
And he said, "You ready now?"
Mm. Sometimes you gotta let go.
And
Listen,
I
my
wasn't.
biggest learning experiences has been from going, all right,
Yes.
all right. I'm gonna let it go. I'm
Yep.
gonna let it go.
He said, "You ready now?" And I said yes, reluctantly because I wasn't ready. I did not know the ghetto-ness that was upon me.
Mm. Listen, sometimes you don't know.
Woo! I did not know what was going to happen. And it was insane. It got better, it got worse. When I tell you the way God stripped my skin off, girl, and when people say, "Oh, when you shed a new skin," I was like, "Yeah, when you shed a new skin, it falls off. It don't fall off. Some pieces stick on, some of us pick it, and then we let it scab and we pick it again when it's not ready." And it was the most horrible yet enlightening and eye-opening experience that I've ever had in my life.
Mm.
And it changed me forever. And my mommy wound was front and center. It was front and center.
Mm.
And I'm still processing the mommy wound. I'm still working through it. But it's,
Do you mind sharing what
yep,
that is?
yep. So I have a mother. My mother is still alive and well.
Mm-hmm.
She actually just moved to Las Vegas
Okay.
at 73 years old with the family. With she had some health issues. The family didn't agree
Mm-hmm.
with her move, but she moved anyway. And I made the very difficult decision to not talk to her anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So I am choosing not to have a toxic relationship with my mother anymore
Mm-hmm.
because I realized what of an impact it had on my whole entire life.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a mom that is present in body, but not in spirit.
Mm-hmm.
It never has been. And I don't think she's not present in spirit purposely. I think she's just not willing to do the work
Mm-hmm.
because it's hard.
Yeah, it is.
And I understand why she don't want to do the work or hasn't done the work because it's ghetto. The work is
Listen,
ghetto
it is.
and the work is hard
And it
it's
brings out stuff
and
in
it's
you that's
ongoing.
embarrassing, that's
Yep.
hurtful,
Yep.
that you look back and say, I can't believe that I did that. I did that? Like,
Yeah. Yep.
yeah.
Yep. But it was important for me
Mm-hmm.
to do it. I'm very strong in my faith. Right now, even stronger.
Mm-hmm.
Me and God is besties.
Listen.
Yeah, I'm his favorite.
Listen.
Okay.
Someone said that to me, my same friend Joy. She
Yep.
goes, I expect God to give me everything. I'm his favorite. Why wouldn't
Period.
he?
Why wouldn't he?
And I said, I'm going to take that on too because I'm God's favorite. Why wouldn't he give me everything that I want?
That's right, because you deserve it.
My heart, he will give you the desires of your heart. And if your
Yes, he
heart has
will.
changed, then you will have everything that you want. And I know that mine
Absolutely.
has.
Mine has too.
So,
And I was telling you off camera that
Mhm.
I was so nervous about talking about this today
Mhm.
because this is my first time talking about it publicly. This is my first time. I had a conversation with my with my aunt, who is one of my mother's younger sisters. She's
Mhm.
right underneath her. So her and I just bought another house together. Go us! Woo, woo. But
all right.
you know, she came with me, and I told her that I was going to talk about this today,
Mhm.
and she's been in full support. You know, and she's like, I said, I'm gonna watch my mouth. You know, I'm going to pray on it and I'm going to be intentional with my words
Mhm.
because my goal is never to throw my mother under the
Yeah,
bus.
or hurt their feelings, you know.
No, no, not at all. But it's also important to me and also to people who haven't even been born yet
Mhm.
that I take this on head on. And I'm taking it head on. And I'm like, child, whose idea was this? I just wanted to buy Louis Vuitton and go on vacation.
That's what you wanted, but God wanted something different, okay?
He wanted to use me.
Listen, yeah.
Yep. And when we went through that period, that 4 years of devastation, he said to me, he said two things. He said, I am going to heal the relationships with your daughters.
So your mommy issues poured into your because you have 3 daughters.
Yes. But
so it poured
into 2 of them.
Mhm.
And then he said, I'm going to use you. And I said, for what? But now I see. Yep.
So you have 2 daughters. How old are you have 3 daughters. How old
I got
are
3. 32,
Mhm.
20.
30.
Oh,
32.
no, Chanel is 32.
Chanel is
32. Elle is 20. She's about to be 21. She turns 21 next month. Go Elle.
Wow.
And I have a 6-year-old.
So,
Yep.
remember we were at and I talk about you all the time because you
you're so
were
sweet,
how
Mia.
old
Thank
when you
you.
got pregnant?
17.
No, when you got
When the
pregnant
first one?
with
42. And she was 6 weeks old when I turned 43.
So, I tell people all the time because everyone's like, people always ask me, and I tell them, listen, I'm living the life that God wants me to live. If He
That's
wants
right.
me to have a kid, He'll give me one. If He doesn't, then He won't. But I'm happy either way. And I have 2 nephews, and that's enough. I mean, God will give me what I need. But for my friends who are still like, I have some friends who I feel like approach 40 and rushed, start getting older and settle. And I believe that you can wait. I'm like, Gabby was pregnant at 42.
Yep.
You had no complications.
No.
We was where was we at? Was Aruba?
Turks and Caicos.
Turks and Caicos. And and then you carried so beautifully. And everyone's, oh, she's hot. That's high. Like you.
And?
I saw it. I saw it. If I didn't see it with my own flesh and eyes, then I would probably let people take what they have never seen and put into my mind. But I'm like, I know that it's possible. And I had another friend who works in the industry. She just had a baby. She's 44.
I mean, my girlfriend had a baby too. She had our second baby at 47.
Look at that.
So, and he's wonderful.
Listen, so do you feel like your third one is the one that you are like, the person you are now is going to make her the person you want her to be?
Yep. And then the fact that she has 2 amazing sisters, like, because they both could be her mama, right? She has 2 amazing sisters. I have such amazing daughters, and I'm so grateful that they were even open to giving me another chance, right? Because coming up, I was obsessed with the beauty industry. I was obsessed with becoming a celebrity hairstylist, and I sacrificed everything, including my relationship with them, for the beauty industry. So, and they was, child, they was sick of me. They was sick of me. And I was like, sick of me? You got some nerve being sick of me. But that's before I allowed God to show me,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I'm so fortunate and I'm so blessed and grateful that they would even give me another chance. My relationship with them has blossomed and flourished, and we're just getting to a new level because they're adults. I tell Elle she's adult-ish, but
I know,
she's
I'm
an
like
adult, whatever.
32. I'm like, wow, this is crazy because you
Yep.
remember when they were like teenagers and
Yeah.
little, and
Yep. And I have some really amazing daughters. When I told them, I was like, "Oop, I'm coming. I'm doing a podcast
mm-hmm.
today." And my oldest daughter, she was like, "Are you okay? You okay?" And I said, "I'm okay. I'm all right." And she was like, "Because I know it's such a touchy subject for you." And
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, "Oh, but it's not. It's not
And they
touchy."
say the more that you're able to talk about things, the
Yep.
more healing happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I mean, the Holy Spirit signed off on this conversation.
Mm-hmm.
I said, "Can I do this?" He said, "Yeah. You ready? You ready? I've been preparing you for the past 4 years to talk about it, and because you're gonna inspire someone." Even maybe it'll be just a word or a phrase or maybe just a clip of this
Yeah.
podcast right here. So he's like, do it. I was so embarrassed. Oh my gosh, Mia, I never realized how embarrassed and ashamed I was.
Mm.
I used to be very jealous of people, total strangers, friends, of their relationships with their mothers.
Mm.
And then my jealousy subsided. And then that's when the embarrassment and the shame was front and center.
Mm.
And I was like, why are you embarrassed? You know, the Holy Spirit said, why are you embarrassed? It's okay. There's so many other of my people, of my children, who will look at you and see that you're making it because they don't know if they can. So you don't have to be embarrassed. It's your
Yeah.
story. It's okay. It makes you layered. You know, I gave you the torch. You took it head on.
He gives you everything that you
And
need.
he gives you everything you
And he gives it to you in
need.
the beginning of the plan. So we're born with everything that we need.
Yep.
We have all the eggs that we're going to have.
Mm-hmm.
We have everything that we need. So if we just have to understand bad situations lead us to good situations. Like there's valleys, there's darkness,
Yep.
there's different things. But in talking about it, it doesn't make it, because even with you speaking about it, it made me think like, I blame, not blame, and it's like, it's not blame because there is no book on how to be a parent.
Yeah.
We make our own opinions of what parents should be based off of what we see on television and what we see with our friends. So I went through that stage of life too where I was jealous of my friends' relationships with their mothers, but then you're only seeing, the little bit when you're at the house, or when
Sure.
you're, you don't really get to see the dynamic of people's parents, how they do. So then, as you get older, like me and my mom, and it's funny because this podcast makes me and my mother's relationship better. And I stopped
Ooh.
looking for change in her because at the end of the day, I am responsible for me and my decisions and the things that I do. I recognize where I have picked up toxic behaviors or, traumas or things from her, and I'm able to break it down to myself and try to fix, because I'm being observant in that way. But it's crazy because I before we did this, because I was like, oh, I'm nervous about this conversation too, because I don't want to say anything. My mom watches this, and I don't want to say anything to
Yes.
insult her, but she has done things. She has taught me bad things, which maybe she hasn't realized that she's taught me, or she has bad ways. But I asked her on my own. I said, hey, do you guys have any mommy wounds? And I asked my aunt and I asked my mom. My mom's middle sister, because my mother's the oldest of three. And the middle aunt Jackie, she's like, oh no, I have tons. And she's like, I said, think about them. And then I asked my mother, and my mother's like, I don't have any. I was like, you don't have any traumas from your mother? No, I don't have any traumas from my mother. And I said to myself, I'm like, wow, that's perfectionism. And
Mm.
perfectionism is, it's like, and these are all things that I'm just giving from my own opinion and perspective. So I don't want someone to say, oh, it's in the book, it's this. But for me, it's like when you paint a picture to be perfect, it allows you not to deal with
Mhm.
the other stuff. It's like, no, I'm fine. Nothing was wrong with me. That didn't affect me. There's this artist Titus, and I can't remember his last name. He has some artwork in Alicia Keys,
The
their
exhibit, I haven't
exhibit in the
seen
Brooklyn
it
Museum.
yet.
He paints these pictures of white dignitaries, diplomats. I'm not exactly sure, but and behind them you see like a curtain pulled and there's like a slave behind them. What I feel so many of our parents and their generation and my
Mhm.
grandparents generation are, make it look pretty, don't worry about what's behind it because no one can see that anyways.
Yeah.
Meanwhile you're all falling apart and broken apart and traumatizing your kids and pouring things because they say what is not transformed will be transferred.
Mhm.
If I don't recognize in me
Absolutely.
what it is, then I'm just going to teach you that same thing subconsciously. So it's like, for me, it was really important. I'm like, oh, I don't want to say, because it's still your mother and we're supposed to honor our mother and our
Yeah.
father.
Yep.
But if the person that causes the most pain to you is your mother, your father,
You got to be honest with yourself about that.
yeah.
I tell people first of all, I was so honored that you would even do that. When I read the text message when you said you did research and that you asked your family members, I was like, this
Yeah,
is
because
this is
it's
what
something
this is about.
serious.
It is
Yeah.
serious. It is serious, and it's been a driving force in my life for so many years, and I'm so grateful that I'm working through it.
No, and it's such a, like, we don't realize. So you have you have these toxic relationships with the mothers, right?
Mhm.
Then we end up having toxic relationships with our friends, females.
Mhm. Yep.
Why can't we get along? Oh, I don't deal with women. You hear women say that all the
Oh, all
time.
the
Oh, no,
time.
I keep men as my friends because I don't really get along with women. Why not? Why don't we get along with women? Because we
Why?
don't get along with our mothers. Sometimes we don't get along with our mothers, and there are
Mhm.
some people who do get along with their mothers, but there are lots of mother-daughter relationships that are toxic, very toxic.
Yep.
And if you don't recognize it, then you just take on that as that's how my mother is, and then now you have a daughter, and then you do it to your daughter, and then, well, that's how my mother was, and that's how you are. And we don't realize that these behaviors and these things that we're teaching, they affect everything, every relationship, not just, it affects all of the relationships that we have with women. Why can't we
Absolutely.
get along? Why don't we uphold each other? Why don't we help each other? Why do we always think that we're competition to each other?
Yep.
Why can't I tell you you're beautiful and you really believe that you're beautiful,
Mhm.
and that I'm not being funny, or just something that, we don't even know how to accept compliments from each other
No.
because we haven't been complimented by our mothers, because we're reminded of other things, or it's just so many dynamics that we don't realize that who we are is who our mothers are.
Yep. And my journey with my own daughters, because I didn't even recognize the mother wound. I didn't. I just was like, me and my mother, I used to say all the time, we're like a pig and a zebra. And not to,
No, but it's just
because you
like
can't get
two
any,
total spectrums, like,
right, you can't get any more opposite, but I was never really aware of that mother wound. So I say all the time, even though breaking up with an entire friend circle, because I didn't break up with just one person, I broke up with all of them,
mm-hmm,
because those relationships with them just didn't serve me anymore.
mm-hmm.
And I felt like they weren't friends to me and I wasn't friends to them. I feel like we were trauma bonded in so many ways.
And you think because you know someone for so long that
Yeah.
you're supposed to be friends. Well, we've been
Yep.
friends for 27 years. Like, why would we throw that away?
Yep. You're like,
Meanwhile,
girl, we shouldn't have been here in the first place.
mm-hmm.
I'm so grateful for that time period because it really showed me. And it was horrible. And let me tell you, I'm not telling anybody to go to therapy, but I'm also telling y'all to go to therapy.
Oh no, I'm a therapy advocate. Okay,
Because between me finally getting out of the driver's seat and letting God do what he does best and therapy, I was able to make it. I sat in my house and cried hysterically. Like I'll say this in a second. I cried hysterically like somebody died because I was at my former self's funeral.
No, listen, I
Yeah,
understand.
man. I was at the
I cry
funeral
hysterically because
every day.
sometimes I remember periods of my life where I couldn't cry. There
Yeah.
was no, I was dead on the inside. There was no feeling to cry. So when I can, I will boohoo cry. I will hysterically cry. I know my cats be like, again.
But the cat that was messing with Sharon,
Yes.
he's so cute. He probably like it. He probably so cuddly
Winston,
and warm and
he
lovable when you
is, but
crying.
I know they be like, again,
Let me tell
again.
you, I learned so much about it's okay not to be okay,
Mhm.
and admitting it. When people used to be like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "No," because I wasn't okay. I sat in my house. I was at my own funeral for 9 months
Mm.
straight. I did not miss one day. The hysterical crying.
Mm.
Some days, because we used to have a two-family house together, and I lived upstairs and they lived downstairs. We've since sold that house, but my aunt would text me and be like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "I can't today," and she would let me live, like, and I just to process everything. It did get better, like around the 1 year mark, 1.5 year mark. It
Mhm.
did get better, and then my daughter almost died.
Mm.
The middle one, the one I was telling you about, that's 20 years old.
Mhm.
She wasn't feeling well. She got some weird little throat thing after she had, COVID. Basically, no symptoms during COVID because we chose to be vaccinated.
Mhm.
And she got a throat thing, and one day she was fine, one day she wasn't, one day she was fine, one day she wasn't. So my aunt was like, "Girl, Elle look like shit."
Mm.
And I was like, "You know what? I'm gonna take her to urgent care."
Mhm.
And the urgent care was like, "Well, she looks a little dehydrated. Her heart rate is a little elevated. Maybe you should take her to the emergency room just because we don't have what she needs. She needs fluids."
Mhm.
And I took that little girl. No, she wasn't a little girl. She was 18 at the time. I took her to the emergency room, and we never left. She was in the hospital for 12 days. She had
Mm.
sepsis throughout her whole entire body. She was dying.
Mm.
She was dying. And
Listen, when it rains, it
she
pours,
was
right?
dying. She was dying. She was dying, and I had no idea. She was in the hospital for 12 days with nursing home patients because she had this thing they call Lemaire's disease. So it's in the jugular vein. It started in her mouth. If the urgent care that she went to would have just gave her an antibiotic, we
Mhm.
probably could have avoided all of this.
Mhm.
12 days later, she was able to leave the hospital, thank God, but she had a port in her jugular vein that was going to her heart because she still needed 6 weeks of antibiotics after
Wow.
that. So fine, she recovered. A month later, she goes back to work. She goes to work and eats some avocado toast. What are they
Uh-huh.
called? Gins? I don't know.
I don't even know what you
Gin
call
A
them.
B C D E F
Mhm.
G, right? So she has her avocado toast with a little chili pepper. Unfortunately, she has allergic reaction. She wakes me up. Her whole head is big like Hitch. I'm like, "Oh my God, what
Oh
happened to you?" So we
no.
take her to her regular pediatrician.
Mhm.
Pediatrician's like, "Oh, you need prednisone, to take the swelling down." She takes the prednisone. 2 days later, she's like, "Ma, I feel funny again." We
Mm.
rushed her back to the emergency room, and she was septic again. She had
Wow.
sepsis in her body again, and then wound up having to have two emergency surgeries. This is a child that has never been sick, never had anything more than strep throat.
Mm.
So she had to have two emergency surgeries 4 days apart. And after that, continued to struggle because she was so afraid of being sick that she was making herself sick.
Mm.
So it took us about maybe 5 months to get her well. So,
Because your mind and is
oh
all
my
connected.
gosh.
Mind,
So
body, and spirit.
2 years later, she's well, thank God. It's my tambourine, by the way, y'all. But I said all of that to say,
Mhm.
if God didn't pull our relationship apart and put it back together,
Mhm.
with the help of therapy, because I feel like that's a blessing that comes
Mhm.
from him. It's a tool. I would have never been able to support my daughter in that time
In the way that she
because,
needed, yeah.
yeah,
Because you
yeah.
wouldn't have been able to see her.
Nope. I would have been too
Yeah.
busy thinking about myself.
I tell people all the time, therapy gives you a clear eye vision.
It does.
We think that we are seeing things clearly until you go and sit with a therapist, and then they start pulling the layers of
Mm-hmm.
delusion off of your eyes, and confusion and arrogance and pride
Yep.
and ego, amongst all the other things that we use that blinds us from seeing who we really are, or
Mm-hmm.
us knowing who we really are and using those things to mask it. Not to the hard I tell people all the time, the hardest thing that I ever did in my life was to look at myself and say, it's time for you to change, and these are the things that you need to change.
Yeah. That's
And
a
then
doozy.
in going through therapy and just increasing my faith and my relationship with God, just realizing like, ooh, you weren't that nice sometimes, or there are
Mm.
things that you could change, or and not feeling guilty or beating myself up about it, because a lot of times you'll get into a, because of this happened. Everything in my life is happening how it's supposed to, and I'm supposed to go through those situations so that the things in me could change, because if you don't know that there's a problem, then you'll never be able to change it.
Absolutely.
So for me, it's
Absolutely.
like, oh, okay. But therapy started to just give me a clear eye view of the thing. It made all the things that I thought were fine. Oh, that's not fine.
Yeah. because
You
you're
know?
high functioning. Like
Yeah.
that's what I learned from my therapist. And I feel like everything was just divinely connected. But he was saying that, you're high functioning. You just need the tools. And I needed to, I don't know how high functioning I was though. I don't know about that part, but I just needed the tools.
Mm-hmm.
So now that I have the tools, I've been communicating better. I've been speaking to myself with more kindness, and gentler, because, they say, oh, you can't pour from an empty cup, right?
No.
But mine had a hole in it. So every time I poured it, it was coming out.
Yeah.
So I had to relearn everything. And I'm still relearning everything. I had to learn how to talk to myself.
How to think.
Learn,
I do my affirmations.
yes, how to go to God 1st. It's funny you said that too about the compliment thing. I'm learning that too.
How to
accept
take a compliment. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
But
Because you give them all day long.
you give them all
You
day
make
long.
everyone feel so pretty in your chair.
Yep.
It doesn't matter what hairstyle, what you're doing. You pour into people. Pour. So when you say that, it's like, how you don't know how to take a compliment? I mean, it's like a question that you would just think, because of someone who gives so many compliments, you would think that you are able to accept them. But we give, but we don't believe that we're worthy of what we give to everybody else.
Yeah.
Hence why we pour out so much and then we end up being empty. And it's the same thing like with me. I want to pour from my overflow. So I fill myself up first. And then what I have left over is what goes to everybody else. But if I'm not full, then I can't give. And I have no problem saying no.
Absolutely.
Or pulling away or setting a boundary, because
Ooh.
I've been that person who will do everything and who will go far and beyond and will dump, give, and then be mad when I don't get back.
That's something I just got to.
Yeah.
Boundaries. I never had boundaries before.
I didn't know what boundaries were. I didn't
either.
For me, a boundary was, I'm not messing with you no more. You're dead to me, and that's the boundary.
Yeah.
And that's not a boundary. Before you get to that point, you learn people. It's like, I know I can't eat with her. I'm not going out to eat with her, so she can't be my friend for dinner, but we could do this together. Or, just compartmentalizing people and allowing people boundaries. And when I don't feel good about something, shutting it down, or, ending that relationship and not feeling guilty about it. People are in your life for reasons, seasons, and lifetimes. Tyler Perry says it in his book that you have friends that are leaves, branches, and roots.
I heard you say that in the episode with Sharon.
Fly away every season. You have some friends who are just here for the moment to get you to the next season. You have some that are branches who will go through the storms, but the hard storms, like you went through, they break off. But then you have those root friends who, no matter what goes on, they're going to always be. And if you have one, you're lucky. You might have many, but for me, I'm just praying for that one. I want my one root friend to be my husband.
Oh, I know that's right.
Ooh. I want my one root friend to be my husband.
I know that's right. Yeah, I feel like my roots, like, oh man, throughout everything and everybody, that aunt of mine, let me tell you something. That lady right there, I don't care how much she get on my nerves. She mine. She's ours.
Gave you a mom without being a mom.
And it's so interesting because of our dynamic. That's my mother's sister, because my mother's the oldest girl. So she's right under her. And she is just like my grandmother. She is such a nurturing soul. She's a former victim of domestic violence. And her only child, her and my mother, out of all my grandmother's children, are the only ones that had only children. And her son spent 20 years in jail. And he's home from jail now. But it's so interesting, the dynamic of our relationship, because she got a kid wound and I got a mother wound. So it's like she's my mother and I'm her kid. But we get along great. And we communicate well. What I love about my aunt is that she's flexible. She's open. You know how they say you got to sway like the palm trees. You can't be rigid. But and she hip too. She fly. She got all that. She has all of this.
Really?
Oh, yeah. She got all the things.
It.
Okay, she's a rich auntie.
I love it.
Retired and living her best life, but she's so flexible and she's so open and she's a great listener. But
you said she was a school teacher, right?
No, she used to work for ACS. She used to work, she went between ACS, she used to manage their daycares. And then she also worked for the Department of Aging, managing the city's, older care facilities. So she has a lot of training, as far as that's is concerned. But because I'm a talker and because she's a listener, it's like I learned how to listen and she's learning how to talk. because I come from a
Mm.
family full of poor communicators.
Yeah.
You know, that's why my mother is the way that she is because they just didn't say anything
No,
about
you were
stuff.
taught to. It's like that painting.
Yeah.
It looked pretty.
Look pretty,
You
don't
know,
say nothing.
don't
They
this
rather talk about you than to
kitchen
you.
business. Family business stays in the
Yep.
house. Like
Yep.
it's the things that you just don't even realize
Yep.
when you're being told that what they were told from their parents. And I mean, like, I take it all the way back to slavery. We didn't show emotion. You showed emotion in a family, then your family was torn apart. So
Absolutely.
that fear gets poured into this, and you don't even realize where it's coming from. It's like survival. And it's like how animals teach their kids things out of survival. Our parents are teaching us things out of survival, but
Yep.
times change, so the survival changes. And if they're not moving forward with the times, then how do they teach us how to survive? A lot of stuff that I've been through, my mother wasn't able to help me through because she didn't go through that. Even now, it's like I have conversations with my mother because my nephew is about to be 16 and he's going to be going to college soon. She's like, college, college, college. And I'm like, mommy, this is a different time. Like, you have kids who are his age who are millionaires.
I was just about to say
Okay,
that.
millionaires.
What?
You have kids who, like, my nephews look at me like I'm crazy. My oldest nephew asked me something. He's like, "Can we go to town?" I'm like, "I don't have no town money." He says, "You work like a slave. You should have town money."
Ooh.
And it's those things that he says to me that are just so, like, black and white to him. Like, you spend all your time at work and you can't afford to go to dinner. Like, and it makes me say to myself, like, wow, he's right.
He is right.
I sacrificed my whole life. The one thing that I can't get back is time.
Yep.
For money that doesn't even allow me to do the things that I want to do.
Yep. Unbelievable.
Listen.
It's a word. That's
No,
a
it
word in
does.
season right there.
Yeah. And that's why I like, even my older nephew, he's before his time, but I listen to him in such a way because they see things in black and white.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, what do you mean you don't have no money?
Yeah, like
you work 24 hours a day. Like, what do you mean?
But I'm learning that generational wounds and pain, I hate to call them curses because I don't believe in curses.
Yeah.
Right? Those generational wounds and pain and poverty mindset and all of those things, they go hand in hand.
Mm-hmm.
They cousins.
Yep.
They lock arms and they skip together.
Yep.
And
because you see, you said all you wanted to do was buy Louis Vuitton and go on vacation.
That's it.
And go on vacation.
Yeah.
And how many of us have those mindsets of,
Yeah.
I don't, all the other things is, if I could do these two things, I'm good. I've heard it in a sermon on one of these churches that I watch, because I watch so many.
Me too.
About being allergic to average.
Oh.
And when I get around certain people, how they irritate me in such a way, the conversations and and I'm just like, oh my God, I'm not talking to them no more. Like, you can't, like, are you serious?
Yeah.
But as you elevate in life, as you move up in life, you become, it makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm like, if I'm upgrading, I have to be allergic to average because I don't want to ever accept or settle.
Yeah, because elevation shakes the table.
Yeah.
It shakes the table. Like, throughout this whole entire thing, like, I really don't have the support of my family because, instead of moving in love, they move in sides. Because, my mom is old. Oh, that's your mother. I'm like, I know who it is.
Even a murderer is someone's parent,
I
brother,
know who
sister,
it is.
cousin, whatever.
Yeah, but my whole thing with them, and I'm not trying to sound harsh, y'all. I told them I'm not confirming shit. You calling me on the phone to confirm? The only thing I'm confirming is that I don't drink Hennessy.
So if I'm coming over, don't have that.
Don't have Hennessy because I don't drink that. That's the only thing that I'm confirming.
Mm-hmm.
I had to, unfortunately, and also fortunately, because I had to gather him because I'm grown. I'm going to be 50 on Easter Sunday.
Wow.
Right? Ugh, and I feel amazing. But
and you
I had
look
to.
amazing.
Thank you.
Yes. That's why, listen, everyone is afraid of aging.
No,
and
I love
doing all
it.
these things to their face and changing this and getting that. And I'm like, you inspire, you make me say, oh, I'm not, I don't have no worries. Like, not even a little bit.
I mean, y'all see black women are
are really everything. Where you got that
Really
t-shirt
are.
from?
I'll send you the link.
Okay, good.
Yes. So, I had to let him know, like, listen, I'm not confirming nothing. If you have a question mark, if you calling me to ask me what happened, that means you have a question mark. So you and your question mark can stay where you live at. I told him straight up. I said, I am so sick of y'all. I am so sick of y'all. Y'all not moving in love. Y'all are moving in judgment.
Yeah.
So I also left him with a suggestion. I said, I suggest that you laser focus on whatever it is that is plaguing you, that what you got going on in your life. Put your head down and do the work, and then maybe you can understand where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
But All the rest of that stuff, you can take that to hell with you with the gasoline drawers on. Straight
It's
up.
like you looking for
Yeah.
gossip, and I don't got none for
I
you.
mean,
I don't have none for you.
it was crickets on the phone. And I was like, as it should, because y'all are not going to throw dirt or throw your own traumas on top of mine. It's like if you guys were truly moving in love, then you would support me and my mother in this difficult season, right? Or this tricky season, as I like to call it. But you calling me to confirm, you're not calling to confirm.
Yeah.
You calling to run tell that.
Yeah. And that's
So
not
you
where
can
you at.
right, you can use those one-liners that I gave you. You can run tell that. I don't know if your audience would be like, well, why is she talking about trauma and she's smiling, right? Because I'm learning that it's okay.
Yeah.
And I smile because not because it doesn't hurt. It still hurts. I'm still processing, the decisions that I've made and all the things that has happened, but I'm not going to let it take me out.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be happy about it, and I'm not going to be ashamed about it. I'm
Yeah.
like, thank you. It's a blessing. I'm praising him in the hallway.
Listen, through it all.
So I'm like, you're going to smile. You're going to
Yeah.
be mad and you're going to be smile. You're going to want to air fight and you're going to smile.
Yeah.
Because it's
that's,
okay.
And that's it.
That's it.
So as we close out, I just want you to tell me, you said that the Holy Spirit is who told, like, is he has been leading, God has been leading, you have let him lead. So you have peace with the decision that you've made.
I do.
And that's the most important thing.
Yep.
That is the absolute most important thing. I tell people all the time, I have to go to bed at night and be me. I have to wake up and be me. Everyone else, I can't. I can't take on the opinions and the thoughts of what you think of me or who you think I am. I know who I am. I've been reminded of who I am through God. I say my affirmations to remind myself of who I am because sometimes I will get caught up in who I was. But I have peace with all the decisions that I make. And that's really ultimately what,
It's priceless.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're just going to keep going because
Listen.
he got a whole laundry list on this mission here.
Listen.
I don't have time.
That part, okay? Everyone keeps saying they're looking for their purpose. They're looking for their purpose. Go to a therapist so you could get those things out your eyes, and then you start to see, God gives us the tools. We pray for things, and then he gives us the tool to do it because we think that, I'm praying for patience, and you're just supposed to be patient. No, he's going to put you through tests and trials and errors and classes on patience until you realize, okay, I could be patient about this. I'm just going to wait because I know that everything that he got for me is going to be good.
Yeah, that is practice because it makes you better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gabby, thank you so much for I'm so happy that you have given me your time because this is the most priceless thing, especially with, just with your daughters and work and all the other things. So I'm very appreciative that you were able to come and give me your time. So if we could close out, just let everyone know, what you're doing, what you have coming up, your Instagram. I mean, she doesn't really do new clients here anymore because I've been trying to get in there for a long time, but she is very busy. So if you can catch her, good luck. But share with us.
Well, I want to thank you also for creating a safe space, right? I wouldn't have wanted to have this conversation with many people, but I was like, girl, I am amongst good company.
Yes.
And like-minded believers. So thank you for providing a safe space for people to just be honest and show themselves without feeling a certain kind of way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. We don't judge here. It's like,
and I love that for you and us.
Because when you talk to people about what you're going through, you realize that people are going through things too. And it's not on the same level, but it's like when you just speaking of therapy and how it helps you, it encourages me to continue going. Even therapy takes a minute to people think that you go a few times and then you get some answers. No, it's a relationship that you're building with someone.
Yep.
That you, as you get more comfortable, the more you're able to open up, the more they're able to learn you, your patterns, your ways. So it just gives me, because I tell everyone I'm like therapy, and then a lot of my friends that come to me with their problems, when I suggest it to them, if they haven't started going, then I don't want to talk about your problems anymore. I'm not your therapist, and what you will not do is keep dumping on me. I'm like, that becomes weary after a while. I like to discuss the this is where I was and this is where I am now. This is how God is leading me. I've gotten out, like when you say you got out the driver's seat, I got out the driver's seat and I've been cruising.
Word.
Right?
Yeah.
Even when it's bumpy road, I still be cruising. I get there.
I'm like, Lord, I trust you.
Yes.
Lord, I trust you. So I've been soft lifing for the past couple of months.
Really?
Yeah, first time ever in 30 years. I've only been working part-time since August.
Ooh.
I know. Who am I?
I love it.
But I wanted to spend some more time with me because I never been this me before. So and then my daughter, and then like I said, we bought a new home, so I've been focusing on that. But I am getting ready to celebrate my 50th birthday. Yay! On
Happy
Easter Sunday.
birthday!
Thank you. And I would have loved to do it on my actual birthday, but because it's the Lord's day, we gotta pay homage to the one that has risen.
Yes.
Okay, then I'll probably push it back a couple of days. But I have a couple of necklaces on, so you could probably see it better on Mia.
Let me see.
But I'm launching my bobby pin bay.
Can we see that?
My bobby pin necklace, because I feel like that's actually in my logo. It's the I in Gabrielle is dotted with a bobby pin. A friend of mine was like, "Oh my gosh, you should use that." But I was like, you know what? The bobby pin is perfect because I've been holding my life together with a bobby pin. Just one of them.
Listen.
So.
And you'd be amazed what you could do with a bobby pin in your hair, right?
Right. So those will be launching in a couple of weeks.
Okay.
And other than that.
And when they do launch, where can we find it? Or where can we find all the information?
Oh, it'll be on GabrielleCorney.com.
Okay.
Or my Instagram. All my social media is the same. I'm that girl. I'm not, all the fancy names. I got one name. On all social media. And
let's just say tell the audience again one more.
Oh, GabrielleCorney.com. And it's GabrielleCorney. There
we go. Stylist to the stars. Yes. So
thank
you have your necklace coming out.
The necklace coming out, and I'm working on a children's coloring book. Ooh. A sensory-based children's coloring book. Because my little one has some developmental delays. She's blossoming. She really is. So I'm like, all right, let's.
Okay, good. So when you get
do some
when
activities.
These things launches, let me know, and then we'll throw them on the Instagram, and I'll make sure to mention them again because I definitely want to see my friends flourish, especially the new you.
Oh man,
I love it.
Thank you.
A question I always ask is, what is your biggest win? What is your biggest loss? And there's no timeline. It could be for the day. It could be for the year. It could be for your life, whatever. There's no timeline. So your biggest win, biggest loss.
Okay, so I'll do the biggest loss first. My biggest loss was the old version of me. And my biggest win is this one.
There we go. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it.
I know. I know it seems really simple, but yeah, that's what it was.
Sometimes the simplest things make the
biggest impact.
Yes.
Yeah. They had to pull me away from that old version.
Listen, I mean, when you're you for a long time, you've been that person your whole life.
Yep.
Change is the hardest thing.
Yep.
To recognize that I need to change and then to do the work to change and then to continue to do the work to change is not easy. So I commend you.
Thank you.
And I hope that you inspire someone else to
I hope so.
do the work.
Yeah, I pray so.
Joy and peace are things that we are supposed to have those things, but you have to do the work. They're not just given to you. Yeah.
Prayer without works is dead.
Listen, okay? And there's power in the tongue, so.
Okay.
I love it. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Mia.
you. Thank you. Thank you. So, this is it. End of New and In Between. Click like and subscribe and catch me on the next episode. Peace. Hey, everyone. It's your girl, Mia Quinn Maddox, and this is New and In Between.